Hello, we're the Group 6. We're going to be comparing Repressions of Tommy Caffey and the unconscious behavior of teenagers using the archetypal approach. So, what is archetypal criticism? So let's define first archetypal criticism. In literature, an archetype is a typical character, an action, or a situation that seems to represent a universal patterns of human nature. So today, we are going to analyze the repressions of Tommy Caffey in the movie The Unsaid and relate it to the unconscious behavior of teenagers. But before we go deeper, let's have some background information of the movie. Tommy Caffey, 4 years ago, was a rescued child from a drastic scene of his father killing his mother. His father was then dumped in jail while Tommy ended up in the residential program at Holy Hills. So, what's the big deal with Tommy Caffey? As what Barbara said, the therapist that is in charge of him, that every caseworker says the same thing. Tommy Caffey seems completely unaffected, that he is a nice kid, that there is no abnormal behavior patterns nor reactive symptoms. Well, that is a way therapist Michael Hunter gets it. Barbara knows that there is something in there. Michael was hesitant at first, but when he saw Tommy, he remembered his child Kyle in him, which urged him to see through his case. Deep repression, according to Michael Hunter. Let's define repression in archetypal approach. Repression is the unconscious suppression of psychic contents that are incompatible with the attitude of consciousness. It is a process that begins in early childhood under the moral influence of the environment and continues through life. As what Michael Hunter said, what is not said is far more important than what is said. He said, or he had given example of the audiences being beaten with a pointer, that we still have with us these unconscious conditional fear responses. He also said, you've buried the memory of those beatings deep in your subconscious. You've altered the truth in an acceptable lie, which allows you to function in a society. That's a perfect example of repression. Let us check the scenes where repression is evident in Tommy Caffey's action. Tommy is acting that he's a normal kid, having no problems in life, but when he was touched, assaulted, and forced to have sex with him with a party girl, he was outraged and beaten the girl into death. For Tommy, kisses, caresses, and sex is a sign of love which his mother manifested on him. Her mother made him feel that there is a sexual relationship going on between the two of them. For him, it's just his mother who has the right to do that to him, and that he was just the one whom his mother loves and not his father. Tommy said, "My mommy loved me. She didn't love him." Another example is when Tommy was confronted by Michael towards the ending of the movie, that he boasted that he blamed himself for his mother's death, that he could have stopped his father from beating his mother. Tommy said, "I could have stopped him. He killed her because of me. Yes, it was my fault." It was a deep repression that he just buried into his unconscious so that he can go on with his life. But reality is, he still wasn't healed. Now, let's compare the repressions of Tommy Caffey to the unconscious behavior of teenagers. What is unconscious according to Carl Jung? Let's take a look at the theory of unconscious. The first layer is called personal unconscious. This contains temporarily forgotten information and as well as repressed memories. Second is the collective unconscious. It is the level of unconscious shared with other members of the human species from our ancestral and evolutionary post. It is well established that adolescents are more likely than children or adults to take risks when they are in their peers. And according to one American child or adolescent had said, "It seems like people accept you more if you're like a dangerous driver or something. If there is a line of cars going down the road and the other lane is clear and you go past 8 cars at once, everybody likes that. If my friend are with me in the car or if there are a lot of people in the line, I would do it, but if I'm by myself, I wouldn't do it. That's no fun." Another example is the like effect. When teens saw their own pictures had received many likes, they showed a greater activation in an area of the brain called nucleus accumbens, and that is an area that's part of the brain's reward circuitry. Teens that saw images that weren't theirs with only few likes tended not to like them, but the more popular an image was, there had many likes, the teens were more likely to like them. It is a part of a collective unconscious among a particular peer group. Rather than make up their own minds about which of their pictures they liked, teens depended to the opinions. Another example is sexual addiction as a result of how we learn to connect. So when we talk of sexual addiction, we need to go back into the root system of how we learned to connect and or compensate for a feeling of disconnection. What we do to feel the empty or the anxious hole inside of us. Sexual acting out that is unconscious might be seen as both a way to self-medicate and heal unconscious emotional and psychological pain, and as a way of trying to finally get the closeness that we have longed for a lifetime. But as any form of acting out, it keeps pain unconscious, rather than to feel the vulnerability and fear that accompany our desire to connect, to love, and be loved. We use the excitation of the chase, the deliciousness of secrecy, or the body chemicals themselves that are part of the sexual experience to override feelings of anxiety around intimacy. And so to summarize it, one of the most important things to remember is that what a teen does and is exposed to during this critical time of life, that is the puberty stage, has a large influence on the teen's future. Final thoughts. Tommy Caffey and teenagers of today, they play a great role in the society. They should be cherished, molded with guidance and care, or they will become future leaders of our society. Thank you and God bless.